This is Ecotricity's EcoTEC Roundup show from Aotearoa's first and only climate-positive certified renewable electricity provider. We only source from wind, hydro and solar, and we are the leading supplier of electricity to electric vehicles in Aotearoa. Search today at ecotricity.co.nz. Welcome back to another roundup of news from the world of clean cars and green energy. Thanks for joining me. We start today's show with some bad news from Germany, where Volkswagen posted its Q3 results, showing its lowest profit since the COVID-19 pandemic originally hit. Recording an operating profit of €2.86 billion, down 42% year over year, its vehicle revenues, while down 0.5%, fared a little better. At the heart of Volkswagen's problems remains poor sales in China, down more than 250,000 vehicles from January to September year over year. This has led Volkswagen to threaten that up to 3 plants may have to close in Germany, which may include EV production facilities. It's also announced a cut in salary of 10% across the board and says a pay freeze will be in effect through 2026. In reaction to the news, the Workers' Council and labour unions have warned of industrial action from the 1st of December. After announcing earlier this year that Volvo and Polestar vehicles would be allowed to use Tesla's Supercharger network, Tesla has now officially flipped the switch, granting access. Announced midweek, Volvo and Polestar customers can now order their CCS Type 1 to NACS charging adapters for $230 or 310 Canadian dollars, with supercharger payment taken care of by each automaker's in-car navigation system. But while access is now granted, it's worth noting that there's one particular EV in the Volvo lineup that hasn't got supercharger access yet, the Volvo EX30. Only sold in Canada, it will eventually be given access to Tesla's Supercharger network, along with all 2025 model year Volvos in the near future. Despite what some political candidates might like to claim, fossil fuels are on their way out, and there's some great new data to back that up from the International Energy Agency. This week, the IEA predicted that 1/2 of the world's electricity will be generated by low-emission sources by 2030, by which time the global demand for coal, oil and gas will have peaked and be in decline. While that estimate includes nuclear power sources, which the IEA says will continue to provide around 10% of the world's energy generation needs for the next decade or so, it's also worth noting that the IEA predicts some significant growth in grid energy demand. Some of that increased demand will come from the transition to electric vehicles, but the majority of that increase in demand comes from increased use of power-hungry data centres as the world switches more of its computer systems to AI. The Cadillac Lyriq may have been on sale for a few years now, but in the last 2 quarters, sales have dramatically taken off, accounting for 19% of all Cadillac brand sales. Next year, there's a new Cadillac Lyriq variant joining the brand's lineup, a high-performance halo of the car that will become the first electric car from the brand to wear the lauded V badge, promising a 4.4-second sprint time, 682 horsepower, that's 501 kilowatts, and 653 pound-feet, that's 885 newton-meters of torque. The newest Lyriq will get official pricing and specs nearer to its launch, with both left-hand and right-hand drive variants planned. Sadly, the price is expected to be well above most people's budgets, though. What's the safest electric car on the market today? If you ask most people, they'll say the Tesla range of EVs, driven by Tesla's high marks in crash tests around the world. Yet a new study this week from Australian insurance website Compare the Market claims that the BYD Seal is now the world's safest car, followed by the BYD Dolphin. Those are some seriously big claims and were made by collating safety tests from ANCAP, Euro NCAP and NHTSA into a new safety rating by the Global New Car Assessment Programme. But because the study collated crash test data from different years, Tesla's test results were from 2020 through 2022, while the BYD models were for the 2023 test standards. That means that some people are arguing the test wasn't exactly fair. Regardless of which automaker is the safest, though, I think we should all feel safe in the knowledge that most of the EVs on sale today test really well in crash tests. For a long time, Hyundai's N brand has stood for high-octane fun on the racetrack, producing both road-legal performance models of popular cars and building race-spec versions for competition on the track. Hyundai's IONIQ 5N has been on sale for about a year now, becoming a flagship for the IONIQ EV family. But this week, Hyundai showcased its newest testbed for producing a next-generation high-performance N-badge EV, the Rolling Lab RN24. Looking for all the world like an old-school Renault 5 Turbo with a roll cage replacing roof and windows, the RN24 is 340mm, that's 13.38 inches shorter than the IONIQ 5N, but has some epic performance specs. There's 478 kilowatts at the wheels from a dual-motor all-wheel drive setup and an 84 kilowatt-hour battery pack. And yes, it also makes fake engine noises. Ford published its third quarter financial results this week, recording an increase in sales that helped it beat Wall Street predictions on revenue and earnings. However, while Ford recorded $46 billion in revenue and an earnings per share of 49 cents, the brand's net income slipped by 25% in the quarter, driven by a $1.1 billion loss from its EV division, Model E. Despite this, however, Ford says that lower costs associated with production and battery packs have helped it avoid larger losses, with Ford CEO Jim Farley promising during the earnings call that its new mid-size electric pickup, due in 2027, would be capable of competing with Chinese-made EVs in terms of specs, manufacturing costs and price. Solar EV startup Aptera was celebrating getting its first production intent vehicles moving this week, sharing videos of Pi2 undergoing low-speed validation testing. As Aptera has detailed in the past, its production intent vehicles are vehicles that, unlike their predecessors, are built using all of the parts that it will put into its production vehicles, from the chassis and frame components through to the body panels, power electronics, battery pack, and even wheels. It might look like a prototype right now, but this particular test is carried out prior to the fitting of all of the body panels and exterior components to verify that all of the production parts do in fact do what they are meant to do, with special emphasis on mechanical components, drivetrain and battery pack functionality. Next up, Pi2 will head back inside to get all of its cosmetic parts fitted and will then head out onto the test track for high-speed validation testing. Aptera plans on making other siblings to Pi2 for crash testing and other certifications, with low-volume production of customer vehicles due to start next year. Next week, SEMA 2024 opens up its doors in Las Vegas, offering hot rod and custom vehicle fans a chance to see the latest and greatest in the world of automotive performance tweaking. This year, Stellantis is planning something a little special for the show. Just as Detroit rivals Ford and Chevrolet have showcased their own restomod EVs built using crate motor power solutions in past years, its parts and performance arm Mopar has got something special for the show floor in the form of a 1967 Plymouth GTX, completely restored with a powerful all-electric drivetrain. Made possible by a new e-crate motor product from Mopar and Stellantis, it packs approximately 335 horses at the wheels, from a 250 kilowatt electric motor through a 3-to-1 reduction gearbox. Powered by a modular 73 kilowatt hour battery pack, Mopar says it's good for 250 miles, with the e-crate designed to work with E and B body vehicles. You know by now that I love restomods, and honestly, this one is a beaut. And finally for the segment, if you're someone who has gone car shopping any time in a showroom, you'll know that it can sometimes be a bit of a pain, especially with pushy salespeople. And for many owners, adopting something closer to Tesla's showroom model is preferred, which is probably why luxury US brand Cadillac, fresh from the success of launching its first experience centre in Australia earlier this year, has confirmed it's bringing its company-owned experience centres to Aotearoa. The first one is set set to open in Auckland next year and will give prospective Cadillac customers the chance to test out the Cadillac Lyriq and the just announced Lyriq V in a friendly, knowledgeable, hopefully less pressured environment than your average car showroom. And yes, you did hear that right. The Lyriq and the Lyriq V will be available for test drives. So plan your trip to Auckland now. Before we get to the last two stories, I have a quick question. Are you in the market for a new EV? Because if you are and you live in Aotearoa, you should totally check out our very own buyer's guide here at ecotricity.co.nz. It's packed with tons of information you need to pick a car that's right for you and includes plenty of details about available vehicles, daily life with an EV, how to file and pay your RUCs, and so much more. So follow the link below and start your journey today. I've always been pretty vocal about my love of the original Tesla Roadster. It was the first Tesla I experienced and was everything I thought a sports car should be. Fun, quirky, and reasonably small. It's hard to believe, but those early Tesla Roadsters are fast approaching their 16th birthday, and their original battery packs are certainly showing their age. For a while, Tesla did offer a very expensive retrofit package to give original Roadster owners a new lease of life for their cars. But these days, it has limited interest in the car that started it all, and most Tesla Roadster owners now seek non-Tesla sales and service. And for those whose cars are showing their age, there's good news. A new aftermarket battery product from Texas-based Resell. It's just announced its intent to begin offering brand new battery packs for those iconic cars that not only takes up just over 1/2 of the original battery pack space, but also retains the car's original range. It also makes it possible for DC fast charging and improved liquid cooling for the battery pack and motor down the road. I would love to test one of those out. And finally, as I seem to be noting more and more, Chinese automakers are really starting to make their presence felt in the EV industry, with impressive specs, low pricing, and great features. And now there's a new one to add to the list, new records. Sort of. That's because Xiaomi's SU7 hypercar just took to the Nurburgring in Germany to set a new record for both four-door production cars and electric cars. A lightened pre-production SU7 was given some time on the green hell late one night this week, and it set a new unofficial lap time of just under 6 minutes. Why is it unofficial? Well, first, the vehicle was technically a pre-production version of the SU7, and secondly, it was heavily stripped down to give it the lightest weight possible. Still, anything under 6 minutes is blisteringly quick and worth noting, and I'm pretty sure Tesla, Porsche and Lucid, as well as many other companies, will want to go back to the green hell to make sure the official record is theirs. That said, Xiaomi says it intends to bring a production SU7 to the Nurburgring green hell next year to make that lap time a real record. So, watch this space. And on that note, we are done for the day. Before I go, though, do make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on the latest in EV news from this channel. And if you haven't switched, it's high time you switch to Aotearoa's first and only climate-positive certified renewable electricity provider. It's super easy to do that switch, and if you do, you'll help the nation wean itself off dirty energy and onto clean green power that will keep the land beautiful for generations to come. I'll be back next week as usual, but in the meantime, do check out other videos on this channel, including the cracking ones from the lovely Gavin Kiwi EV Shoebridge. Some of the vehicles he's been driving of late have been amazing. He even got pulled over this week. I'm sure it will be in a video. Don't worry, he wasn't arrested. Thanks for joining me. I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield. Have an amazing week. Ka kite. See you next time.